The first time someone offers to spy for you, your heart starts racing. You're sitting in a small cafe in a foreign capital. The place is crowded enough that conversations blend into a constant background noise, the kind of place intelligence officers prefer for delicate meetings. Across the table is a man who works inside his country's defense ministry. You've spent 6 months building this relationship. Casual lunches, conversations about politics, carefully avoiding anything that sounds like espionage. Tonight is different. You lean forward slightly and lower your voice. You explain that the information he has access to could help prevent dangerous misunderstandings between governments. He looks down at the table. For a moment, you think you pushed too far. Then he whispers one word. Maybe. If he's telling the truth, you've just recruited one of the most valuable intelligence sources of your career. But if he's lying, you might be sitting across from the intelligence service that's been trying to catch you. Moments like this are what people imagine when they think about the CIA. But your life inside the agency didn't begin here. It started years earlier, inside a secure building in Virginia, at the very bottom of a long intelligence ladder. Level 1. Intelligence analyst. Before you ever recruit a source or travel overseas, you begin as an intelligence analyst. Your first job in the CIA isn't collecting secrets. It's understanding them. Most analysts arrive with degrees in fields like political science, economics, cybersecurity, or foreign languages. Some come from the military, others from universities where they studied international relations. Your days take place inside secure rooms filled with classified information. Satellite images, intercepted communications, foreign news reports, economic data. Your job is to look at all of it and answer one question. What does it mean? One afternoon, you're reviewing satellite photos of a remote desert facility. You zoom in on an image taken 3 days ago. At first, it looks ordinary, a cluster of buildings surrounded by open land. But then you notice something strange. A new structure has appeared near the edge of the compound. 2 weeks ago, that building didn't exist. You check the previous satellite pass. The roof looks reinforced. Trucks are parked nearby. Is it a warehouse, a research facility, or something related to weapons testing? You spend hours comparing images and reports. Eventually, you write an intelligence assessment explaining what you believe is happening. That report might travel through multiple levels of the intelligence community before landing on the desk of someone making national security decisions. At this level, you typically earn between $60,000 and $85,000 per year. There's no physical danger. But the pressure is real, because if your interpretation is wrong, policymakers might make decisions based on faulty information. Promotion depends on something simple but difficult to prove. Judgment. If supervisors believe you can handle responsibility without jumping to conclusions, you move up. Level 2, Operations Support Officer. After a few years inside the agency, you might move into a role called Operations Support Officer. This is where you start seeing how covert operations actually function. Field officers overseas rely on a huge invisible system behind them. You become part of that system. Your job is to coordinate logistics that must remain completely hidden. Secure communications, travel documentation, operational funding, safe locations where officers can meet their sources without drawing attention. One evening, a message arrives from a CIA officer working overseas. He's scheduled to meet a potential source tomorrow. Someone who may have access to classified military research, but there's a problem. The apartment normally used for sensitive meetings has been compromised. Someone may have been watching the building. Now the officer needs a new safe location within hours. Your job is to quietly arrange everything. A different apartment, a new communication channel, transportation that won't attract attention. If the meeting happens safely, the officer might recruit a valuable source. If anything goes wrong, both of them could be exposed. At this level, salaries usually range from $75,000 to $100,000 per year. The danger still isn't obvious, but small mistakes can destroy entire operations. A document in the wrong database, a compromised phone line, one oversight could expose someone working undercover. If you prove you can manage these moving pieces without errors, the agency may trust you with something much bigger. Level 3, Operations Officer. Now your career changes completely. You become an operations officer, often called a case officer. This is where your job finally leaves the office. Before being sent overseas, you go through extensive training, surveillance detection, recruitment psychology, foreign culture and language immersion. You learn how to move through cities without attracting attention, how to notice if someone is following you, how to have conversations that reveal information without sounding suspicious. Your mission is to recruit sources, people inside foreign governments, militaries, or institutions who secretly provide information. One night you meet a government scientist in a quiet restaurant. The room is dimly lit, and conversations from nearby tables blend into a constant background murmur. You've been meeting him for months. At first you talked about ordinary things, politics, research funding, bureaucratic frustrations inside his government. Tonight the conversation shifts. You explain that misunderstandings between nations can sometimes lead to dangerous decisions. Then you ask the question intelligence officers eventually have to ask. Would he be willing to help your country understand what his government is doing? He sits quietly for several seconds. Then he asks one question. What happens if someone finds out? In intelligence work, that question carries enormous weight. Operations officers usually earn $95,000 to $130,000 per year. But foreign intelligence services are constantly searching for people like you. If they discover what you're doing, the consequences can range from expulsion to imprisonment. Sometimes worse. Promotion depends on results. Did you recruit valuable sources? Did you protect them? Did you avoid exposing yourself? If the answers are yes, your responsibilities grow. Level 4, Senior Operations Officer. After years running operations, you may become a Senior Operations Officer. Now your role shifts again. Instead of managing just a few sources yourself, you help supervise entire intelligence networks. You guide younger officers, review recruitment strategies, and decide which operations should continue and which should stop. One afternoon, a junior officer comes to your office looking nervous. He believes one of his sources might be lying. But the source is providing valuable information about military planning. If the man is honest, the intelligence could be critical. If he's a double agent, the entire network could be compromised. You study the reports. Every decision carries consequences. Allow the meetings to continue, and the information might reveal something important. Shut the operation down, and you may lose access forever. Senior operations officers typically earn $120,000 to $160,000 per year. But the pressure becomes much heavier because now the mistakes of other officers fall on you. But here's something most people outside the intelligence world don't realize. Many CIA officers never reach the field at all. Some spend their entire careers inside analysis rooms or technical departments. Others leave the agency before climbing far up the operational ladder. The higher you go, the fewer people remain. Because intelligence work requires a combination of skills that are difficult to sustain for decades: discipline, patience, emotional control, and the ability to live with secrets you can never fully explain to anyone outside the system. For the few who continue climbing, the next level brings even greater responsibility. Level 5, Chief of Station. Eventually, you may reach one of the most powerful operational roles in the CIA. You become a Chief of Station. This means you run the CIA presence inside a foreign country. Every intelligence officer operating there ultimately reports through your station. You coordinate with diplomats, supervise operations, and decide which intelligence targets matter most. One morning, you arrive at the embassy and find several urgent messages waiting. An operation you approved has created tension between two governments. The ambassador wants answers. Headquarters in Washington wants a full explanation. And the officer involved is still operating in the field. You must decide whether the operation continues or disappears overnight. Reaching this level usually takes 15 to 20 years of experience. Salary typically ranges from $150,000 to $190,000 per year. But the real weight of the job isn't financial. It's knowing that a decision you make today could affect relationships between entire countries. Level 6, Division Chief. Back in Washington, C1, operations are organized by region: Europe, Asia, Middle East, Africa. Each region is managed by a division chief. At this level, you're no longer thinking about individual sources or field meetings. You're thinking about entire intelligence strategies. One morning, your analysts present reports showing rising military activity in a region you oversee. satellite imagery, human intelligence, intercepted communications, all pointing towards something unusual. You must decide whether to approve high-risk operations to gather more information. Division chiefs typically earn $170,000 to $210,000 per year. But the consequences of your decisions now extend far beyond individual missions. They can influence national security policy. Level 7, Deputy Director. Above the division sits the leadership of the agency. As Deputy Director, your responsibility shifts again. Now you manage the institution itself. Budgets, personnel, technology programs. Thousands of employees across the intelligence community. Every major intelligence initiative passes through your office. Your salary exceeds $200,000. But by this point, the number matters far less than the responsibility, because every success and failure inside the agency reflects on the leadership guiding it. Level 8, Director of the CIA. At the very top sits the Director of the CIA. This position is appointed by the President of the United States. You oversee the entire intelligence organization, every analyst, every operation, every classified program running across the world. Each morning begins with a classified briefing describing global threats, cyber attacks, military developments, political instability. Your job is to interpret those secrets and advise national leaders. The salary is around $220,000 per year. But the weight of the job is far greater than the paycheck. Because when intelligence fails, the consequences can echo across the world. Final section, the reality of the latter. From the outside, intelligence work often looks like a life of action. Secret missions, hidden identities, dangerous meetings in foreign cities. But climbing the CIA ladder is something very different. Years of quiet analysis, endless preparation, decisions made inside secure rooms few people will ever see. Most intelligence officers will never appear in history books. Their successes remain classified. Their mistakes disappear into the internal reports. But the ladder they climb quietly shapes the decisions that influence the world. And the higher you rise, the more you realize something unsettling. The most powerful part of intelligence work isn't collecting secrets. It's deciding what those secrets mean. And once you've spent your life making those decisions, you never completely stop carrying them with you.